on a rural Minnesota road. A phone call came in late at night. The caller said he'd slid into a ditch and needed help. He stayed on the line with his father for 47 minutes, walking toward what he believed were the lights of his hometown. Then he said 2 words, and suddenly the line went dead. Brandon Victor Swanson was a student at Minnesota West Community and Technical College in Canby, Minnesota. He was 19 years old, 5 feet 6 inches, 120 pounds. He had completed his first year of college and was celebrating the end of the semester. On the night of May 13th, 2008, Brandon attended a party in Canby with friends. He left around midnight to attend another gathering in Lynn, a small town approximately 30 miles southwest. Brandon was driving his white 1998 Chevrolet Lumina. He lived with his parents, Brian and Annette Swanson, in Marshall, Minnesota. Marshall is located roughly halfway between Canby and Lynn. Brandon knew these roads. He had driven them regularly. May 14th, 2008, 12:30 a.m. Brandon leaves the party in Lynn. He is driving back toward Marshall on rural gravel roads. The night is clear. Visibility is good. 1:54 a.m. Brandon calls his parents. He tells them he has slid into a ditch on a gravel road near Lynn. He says he's not injured. The car is stuck but not badly damaged. He asks them to come pick him up. His father, Brian, gets dressed and begins driving toward Lynn. Brandon stays on the phone. He says he can see lights from a nearby town. He believes he's close to Lynn, just off Highway 68. Brian drives the route Brandon described. He doesn't see Brandon's car. He flashes his headlights. Brandon says he doesn't see them. Brandon begins walking. He tells his father he'll walk toward the lights he sees. He believes it will be faster than waiting. Brian continues searching the area near Lynn. Brandon walks for 47 minutes while on the phone. He describes his surroundings: fields, gravel roads, no structures. He crosses through farmland. At one point, he mentions climbing over a fence. 2:30 a.m. Brandon tells his father he can see the lights of a town more clearly now. He says he's approaching them. His father continues driving in the area Brandon described, but they still cannot see each other. Brian asks Brandon to flash the lights on his cell phone so he can spot him. Brandon agrees. Neither sees the other. 2:47 a.m. Brandon says, "Oh shit." The call ends. Brian immediately tries calling back. No answer. He continues calling repeatedly. Every call goes straight to voicemail. 3 a.m. Brian and Annette drive to the location where they believe Brandon was headed. They search on foot and by car. They find nothing. 6:30 a.m. The Swansons report Brandon missing to the Lynn Police Department. They are told Brandon is an adult and has only been missing a few hours. No immediate search is conducted. Later that morning, the Swansons continue searching. They recruit friends and family. Over the next few days, hundreds of volunteers join the search. They cover the area near Lynn extensively. May 15th, 2008. Brandon's car is found. It is not near Lynn. It is located approximately 25 miles away, near the town of Taunton, on the outskirts of Porter. The car is in a ditch off a gravel road. It is facing northwest. The keys are not in the ignition. There's no sign of damage beyond what would be expected from sliding into a shallow ditch. The car is found 1.5 miles northwest of Highway 68 and roughly 25 miles northeast of where Brandon said he was. Law enforcement begins searching the area around Taunton and Porter. The Red River is nearby. Search teams focus on the river banks and surrounding fields. Canine units are brought in. The dogs track Brandon's scent from his car to a point along a gravel road. The trail leads northwest, toward the Yellow Medicine River. The dogs lose the scent at the riverbank. Dive teams search the Yellow Medicine River multiple times. They find nothing. Search efforts expand to over 120 square miles. Aerial searches are conducted. Infrared technology is used. Helicopters cover the area repeatedly. The searches find no clothing, no phone, no wallet, no keys, no body. Volunteers continue searching for weeks, then months. Local farmers check their fields during harvest. Nothing is found. In 2010, a search dog trained in human remains detection shows interest in an area along the Yellow Medicine River, near Porter. The area is excavated. Nothing is recovered. In 2014, the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension announces they will use aerial mapping technology to search the area again. The search covers the fields and riverbeds in a 122 square mile zone. No evidence is found. Law enforcement has stated they believe Brandon's disappearance was accidental. They theorize he fell into the river and drowned, and that his body was carried downstream or became lodged beneath debris. The case remains open. Brandon Swanson is still missing. The problems with the official story. Brandon told his parents he was near Lind. He was confident. He described seeing the lights of the town. He gave specific landmarks. But his car was found 25 miles away, near Porter. This is not a small navigational error. Lind and Porter are in opposite directions from Marshall. If Brandon was driving home from Lind to Marshall, ending up near Porter would require him to drive past his house, continue northeast for an extended distance, and then crash. There's no clear reason why Brandon would have driven in that direction. He knew the area, the roads are straightforward. Brandon was on the phone with his father for 47 minutes. During that time, he was walking. He described his surroundings, fields, fences, gravel roads. His descriptions were consistent with the area where his car was later found, not with Lind. This means Brandon did not know where he was, but he believed he did. He was certain he saw the lights of Lind. In reality, the lights he saw were likely from Marshall, or possibly Porter. If Brandon was walking northwest from his car, which the cadaver dogs suggest, he would have been moving toward the Yellow Medicine River. The river is not large, but it runs through farmland and can be difficult to see at night, especially in May when vegetation is thick. The theory is that Brandon fell into the river. But the river was searched extensively. No body, no clothing, no phone. Bodies in water often surface. The Yellow Medicine River is not deep or fast moving. It was searched multiple times over several years. Brandon's phone went dead immediately after he said, "Oh shit." It was not a gradual loss of signal. It was sudden. His phone has never been recovered. It has never been turned on again. Law enforcement confirmed that Brandon's cell phone last pinged off a tower near Porter. This is consistent with where his car was found, but it does not explain what happened to him. Brandon's last words, "Oh shit," are ambiguous. They could indicate surprise, danger, a fall, or simply frustration. There was no scream, no call for help, just those two words, then silence. Controlled theories. Theory 1. Accidental drowning. Brandon was walking through unfamiliar terrain in the dark. He may have misjudged the landscape and fallen into the Yellow Medicine River. The river runs through the area where the cadaver dogs lost his scent. If he fell in, he could have been disoriented, injured, or unable to climb out. His body may have been swept downstream, buried in sediment, or lodged under debris. This theory is supported by the cadaver dog evidence and the location of his last known movements. It aligns with law enforcement's conclusions. However, the river was searched repeatedly. Bodies in rural rivers are often found, even years later. Brandon's phone, wallet, and clothing were never recovered. If he drowned, the lack of any physical evidence is unusual. Theory 2. Disorientation and exposure. Brandon may have become disoriented and walked in the wrong direction for an extended period. The temperature that night was cool but not freezing, around 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Hypothermia is possible, but unlikely in those conditions over 47 minutes. He may have fallen into an unmarked well, cistern, or agricultural pit. Rural Minnesota has old farm equipment, uncovered wells, and other hazards. If he fell into one of these, it could explain why he was never found. This theory explains a sudden end to the phone call and the absence of remains. However, the area has been searched extensively, including by aerial imaging. Any large pit or well would likely have been located. Theory 3. Foul play. Brandon's last words could indicate he encountered someone or something unexpected. A vehicle, an animal, or another person. If someone picked him up, harmed him, and disposed of his body, it would explain the lack of evidence. There is no direct evidence to support this. Brandon did not mention seeing anyone on the phone. There were no reports of suspicious vehicles in the area. His manner of speech did not suggest fear of another person. However, the abrupt end to the call, the missing phone, and the total absence of remains are consistent with the possibility that someone removed evidence from the scene. Four. Voluntary disappearance. Brandon may have chosen to leave. He was 19, transitioning between stages of life. Some have speculated he staged the accident to start over elsewhere. This theory is not well supported. Brandon had no known financial problems, legal issues, or relationship conflicts. His family described him as stable and happy. He left behind his car, his keys, and all his belongings. There has been no activity on his bank accounts, social security number, or phone since that night. If Brandon disappeared voluntarily, he has maintained complete silence for over 16 years. This is statistically rare and behaviorally inconsistent with what is known about him. The unanswered questions. Brandon Swanson disappeared in an area that has been searched by hundreds of volunteers, trained professionals, and advanced technology. His phone, his clothing, his body, none of it has ever been found. He was on the phone with his father when he vanished. He was walking through open farmland. It was not a remote wilderness. It was rural Minnesota, flat, cultivated, and familiar to him. Yet there is no evidence of what happened. No one knows what he saw. No one knows where he went after the call ended. The case file remains open. His family continues searching. Law enforcement maintains the investigation is active. Brandon Swanson is still missing.